What's up, friends of the internet, and welcome back to the Jube tube. All right, I'm pretty sad today. I had a whole script written of 2017 being a great year for gaming, and how cheaper games like Cuphead and Hellblade still stick out above the others that cost $60+, and the quality is fantastic, and the difficulty of Cuphead is rewarding, and I want to see it in more games. And then as I'm about to record, I see this report and I lose my mind. Let's read it, shall we? A report comes out, and I see it on GameSpot, and it's about a patent that Activision has gotten approved for their microtransactions. Loot boxes and microtransactions have been the bane of the existence of the gaming world in 2017. But let me just read in this article why I am now above and beyond done with this system, because it blatantly exploits what we all knew to be true, but never had it written, in stone. Now it is. I want to go on record first and say that I think loot boxes in and of themselves are not a bad thing. It's how they're being used right now, and how players are being exploited, how addictive personalities of humans are being exploited, and how we the player are suffering, but at the same time we the player are being blamed for it. I've seen several reports. I saw it in the new Battlefront 2 report, and I've seen it several times, that the publishers and the developers are saying that we are asking for it. That there are people who don't have that much time, who would just rather pay to get ahead. And that is what makes me the most mad, is that you're going to have the audacity to say that it's us. Like, who has said that? Who has sat in the back of the room and been like, yeah, no, I don't have a lot of time, so can I just pay you more money than I'm already paying you? Which is a lot. I'll pay you more just so I can beat the game, because I don't like feeling satisfied that I myself have beaten it. I would rather just pay for it. You can't do that? You can do that? Okay, yeah, let's put that in. That's never happened. So that's what makes me furious, is that you're going to turn around and blame it on us. I don't think that that's the case. The other thing is that many of these court cases that have gone through determine that loot boxing, these loot crates, these things are not gambling. The reason that I think it still very much is gambling is because it's random. People have compared these to card packs. Maybe Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, whatever, if you collect those things. And I think if you do collect those things, you should be a little upset by this, because it's not true at all. For card packs, you at least are guaranteed something, right? So I know, for example, I think the old Pokemon packs, when I used to open those, it was that you got like a rare and an uncommon or something like that. But you were guaranteed one of each for every pack. Now, is it going to be the one you want? Who knows? Are you going to get that Charizard that I wanted so desperately when I was 10 years old? No, you have no idea if you're going to get that. You are at least guaranteed to have the rare, the whatever, in that pack. You're not guaranteed anything in a lot of these loot boxes. So I don't think you can make that one-to-one. Also, if I just want to get on eBay and say, oh, there's the Charizard, I'm just going to pay $100 for that, I know I'm going to get that card. I'm paying for that card. But that's not the case. We can't do that in many of these forms. In Destiny, they fundamentally changed how shaders work from 1 to 2. And if that shader is available at that time, you can buy it specifically, or you have to just roll the dice and hope that you get one. So I don't think it's fair to make the comparison to card packs. I don't think it's fair to say that it's not gambling, because it is. And it feeds again into our addictive personalities. Now, let's take it a step further and just read what's on this patent and just dive into that, because I can't believe that it got approved. I think it's crazy dirty, the wording and the intentions behind this, but that's just me. But I'm going to read direct quotes so I don't screw this up. The patent's description explains that it's for a system and method for encouraging players to spend money on microtransactions. And it doesn't specify any titles, so we don't see that it's actually in any game or that it's going to be in any game or anything like that. But again, we're just going by what this says and if they have intent to use it. The patent's description further specifies that its system and methods can include matchmaking systems that influence buying behavior. The system may match a more expert marquee player with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases of items possessed used by that marquee player. A junior player may wish to emulate the marquee player by obtaining weapons or other items used by that marquee player. That's just the beginning, and then it starts to snowball. What's basically happening is they're using the matchmaking algorithm to say, oh, you're a level 8 player or whatever, you're pretty good, you're getting into the game. Well, I'm actually going to pair you up with a level 20 character, and you're going to get beat, and you're going to be beat pretty good. But we're going to show you maybe what that player had, and here's a way that you can go get it quickly. You can just buy it. On top of that, the article continues to say that not only will the matchmaking pair you with something more difficult in the beginning to encourage you to buy those weapons, then if you actually go and buy those weapons, it will then matchmake you with a player who is now worse than you significantly, so that you can dominate them, destroy them in this matchmaking game, and you yourself will feel that your purchase was valuable, so that in the future you are more likely to buy it again. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. So not only do loot boxes play into our addictive personalities because they're slot machines, but now it's just digging into this and it's lying to us. It's not matching us with players who are on our level, who are potentially evenly matched. Maybe my weapons are actually worse than theirs, but it's going to match me with someone who is at a much lower level so that I will dominate and feel like my money was well spent. So I will be encouraged to do so more and more in the future. Now, Activision has come out and said in an update, they have confirmed that this patent was only exploratory and such a system may not be used in any games. This was an exploratory patent filed in 2015 by the R&D team working independently from our game studios, and it has not been implemented in a game. It's not the fact that it's being used. The fact is that they went for it. And it's clearly exploiting everything that we've talked about of the problem with loot boxes. If it straight up was just cosmetic items, if there was a guarantee of at least one, epic drop in most of these games, if there was a guarantee for this, that, and the other, which some have, some do have, it's how they're being used. Again, so even if you are guaranteed an epic item in one of these, and you're being encouraged to buy these things to skip time, there's still molding the game to force you to feel the need to make these purchases. Now again, nobody has to make these purchases. So this is all just like, it's all just angry with the devs and the system of how they're setting it up and the publishers and yada yada yada. Because I, the player, I can make the decision to vote with my wallet and not buy the game, not buy the loot boxes, and then they don't succeed. But honestly, there's a big enough market that it's probably going to succeed and they're going to keep doing it. But the thing to remember is, again, this is now proof that they're finding new ways besides just the gambling system to try to usher you into making these purchases. You look at games like NBA 2K18 and you can get everything you can from a loot box by playing the game. But if you're an average player, like most people, you're only going to get $500 of in-game currency per game that you play. Some haircuts cost $1,500 of in-game currency. And you don't even get to see the haircut on your player until after you buy it. You're in a loophole there of like, do I spend that money? I don't know. Customizing your character now costs in-game currency that you rarely get unless you want to spend $20 and get $75,000. That's not okay. Then if you want to make your player even better, sometimes just to move your player 1 point. I read an article where a guy was trying to go from 64 to 65. It wasn't even great. But to move 1 point in there, it cost $4,000 of in-game currency. You've got to grind for hours and hours and play hundreds of games to get this stuff. Shadow of War I've read is very similar. I have yet to reach that part of the game, But it's the same thing. It says that you can reach that point of the game just by grinding it out. But it is a long grind. When games set it up like this to where it's like you can earn everything, but you've got to spend, extra 10, 15, 20 hours to get this thing that you could buy for 10, 15, 20 bucks. It sucks. It sucks because it's trying to force you into a corner that you don't want to be in, honestly. I don't think we want to be here. And to say that the players are asking for this, I don't think that that's true at all. When you have games that fundamentally change how things work, like what Forza is doing with driver difficulty and being paid for that, that also is very unfortunate. Not only are you being forced in a corner, but now you're being forced to play the game differently, and I hate that. I love racing games, and it's always been if you want to take off driver assists or make the race more difficult, you get paid more. But now Forza is making it to where the only way to get paid more for those difficulty increases is by unlocking some type of thing in a loot box. You'll open a loot box and it will have this card or this thing where you can now apply it to a race to say, remove the racing line, earn X amount more dollars. But if you were to remove the racing line without that perk, you would get no benefit from it. Now, why? I feel that if you're going to increase the difficulty in racing games, you're obviously going to be rewarded for that. So I find it extremely fishy and unnecessary to make that change. There's a lot of people that just enjoy racing games for the visuals and they like cars, and playing on easy is fine. But there's a lot of people, and I know one in particular, who spends hours and hours tuning his cars, taking it to test tracks and things like that, and gets way over the top with it because that's what he loves to do. And now he's not going to get rewarded for it unless he spends that money, real money, for a loot box to potentially get that perk that he can get paid for. It's very unfortunate, and it's a dark time in this debate. I just hope that we together as a player community can kind of raise our hand and be like, no, that's not how you do it. And again, I'm not mad at the fact that they're in the game. I'm okay with it, they're in the game. It's the level that the studios now take to just kick it up a notch. I'm also okay with, I want to go on record saying, by supporting developers and publishers. I've always been the guy that if I like what you're putting down, if I smell what you're stepping in, I'm going to give you some extra money. I just bought the gold edition of Shadow of War. I know, I said I was against the game, but after watching gameplay and playing the first one, I went ahead and did it. I know. But I regret nothing because I also got this Celebrimbor hammer bottle opener. Ping, ping. That's amazing. I can't be mad now. I've always been that person who's going to support the studio by buying those better games, the gold editions, the ultimate editions. I get that, and I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with paying that money. I know what I'm getting. I'm getting 4 orcs. I'm getting this stuff. I've yet to even get my 4 orcs, and I'm pretty sure I lost my code. But whatever. I also get like a steelbook. You get perks for that, and I'm okay with paying that extra money. But the way that these systems are set up now to try to usher you into a corner or play with the addictive personality with people and slot machines and all this stuff, it just seems dirty, and I don't like it. And I think that we have to stop buying them. I don't know. They have to get metrics as a studio to say, okay, we sold 3 million units, but only 500,000 of those 3 million bought at least one loot box. That's a large portion of the community that just said, no, I'm not doing it. And then maybe that's what it's going to take for a studio to be like, no, that's right, we didn't do it right. Put out DLC. I also don't like DLC. I'd much rather just have a fully fleshed out game. You have things like the Frozen Wilds coming out for Horizon Zero Dawn that I know many people are excited for. That was one of the best games for the year, and so the hype is real. And it's only $20, and people are going to pay for it. You also have things, like I said, with Cuphead and Hellblade that were $20, $30. Sonic Mania was $20, and they sold like crazy. Cuphead, what was it, 1 million copies sold in like 2 weeks? Hellblade was on the top of the charts for several weeks. And people were saying like, okay, we're actually spending less money, but we're getting a better experience, and it's more readily accessible for people who maybe don't buy games but maybe once or twice a year because of the cost. They now can afford to have more games in their library. I think it's speaking volumes that people are kind of voting with their wallet for the cheaper games that are of better quality than the people who are clearly like me sitting in a chair in a basement that these publishers are probably never going to hear, who are just all mad because they're trying to work the system. And I guess I respect your right to try to make more money and as a publisher, I mean, it's business, right? It's just dirty business. I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, guys, that was a long ramble. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe. There's a red button, and there's a button with my face that's going to be here in a second. You know, share it with the world. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see y'all again next time.